Hey, Gator Nation, welcome back to an all new episode of Pod of the People. Guys, it's been a few weeks, so we've had some time for y'all to think of some new questions for us, and we're going to get them answered for you on this week's episode. We hope y'all enjoy it. As always, I'm your boy Hirsch. With me, CJ the Man McCann.
What's up, guys?
And the hype man Wes.
Gator Nation, what's up?
He hype. He real hype right now.
Hype up, man.
He's
Ready to
hyped to
answer
give y'all some
questions.
answers to y'all's much asked questions. Guys, as always, if you check us out on YouTube, man, make sure you subscribe to the channel and drop a big time like on that video, guys. Make sure our goal each and every time, 100 likes on the video. We know y'all can make it happen. If you have a question you would like maybe us to try to answer the next time we do a Pod of the People, I can't guarantee it's going to be next week. Probably will. Drop it in the comments below. It can be about recruiting. It could be about fall camp. It could be about something that we think is going to happen during the season. Come up with a good question, drop it below. You could just have a special request to have CJ say something as Dusty Rhodes in next week's episode. Special request. He'll drop a happy birthday to you as Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah, join my. Get me on a cameo.
Yeah. Dusty Rhodesagram.
Yeah. Yeah.
Happy birthday, Jack.
Then I heard it's your birthday, Daddy. Let me tell you something. I hope you get funny like I'm
Do that gambit when you just did too.
all them
They
cameos.
ain't heard your gambit.
We ain't doing no gambit. Woo.
But
Anyway.
make a name for myself.
All right, guys. It's getting off the rails already. Y'all know this is our fun show. But as always, guys, thank you for your support on this. And if you're able to help our friends at Florida Victorious, go over, check out FloridaVictorious.com. Use our code DECISION. Save 20% off your first month. Help Gator Nation with their recruiting efforts. And with that being said, guys, let's jump into it, man. We got 16 questions tonight from y'all, our fabulous fans. We're going to start. Jed Keel. Jed, thank you as always, man. You always send the questions. We appreciate it. We kind of talked about this one on the main show this week, but I understand it's still out there. You put something in here that we actually did not discuss in the main show as far as the structure of it. So, with Montrell being hurt, does the game plan stay the same with the other backs, or do you expect them to throw more? Jed, I think Billy is Billy. I think Billy's game plan is always run the ball, control the clock. Maybe he has more faith this year. Graham in the second year, a little more offensive weapons, but I could be wrong.
That's a good ass question.
Do you agree? What do you think, Wes? What's your take? Do you think he?
I hadn't thought about that, but that's a great question because we expected to see Treon play, but we didn't expect it. Well, I don't say we. I'm speaking for myself. It was like 15-15 if it was carries for ETN.
I didn't think it'd be that. I think
No. I mean for ETN and Montrell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now I was thinking maybe 2010.
2010. That's kind of where I
Coming
was.
up
And then
now,
a couple carries for like ball sprinkled in.
yeah. Now I'm thinking he might go to the hot hand, whoever's the hot hand, because all these guys are unproven. Even though Treon saw a lot of reps he saw more reps than anybody else last year. But I think this may be a hot hand situation, and who can pick up those blitzes, as we talked about in the main podcast, and who listens to Mertz when he say, "Hey, don't go out for this pass. They're sending this corner or this slot guy or this linebacker, this extra linebacker, and you pick up this blitz."
Have you
That's
done
going
your
to be the
film
key.
study?
Exactly. So that's going to be the key to who gets those reps. The hot hand, but yeah, I think we all know we're going to do two tight ends and we're going to run the ball.
You can bet money they're going to test those younger guys in practice with blitzes and things, and to see how they adjust and if they can pick up those things. CJ, you agree?
Yeah, no, they're gonna run the ball. I mean, I don't think that I don't think that that's going to change the game plan. I don't think Billy's about that. I think that this is what he does to a fault, whether it's you like it or you don't or you're indifferent. We're gonna run the ball. Now, what success we will have running the ball, I don't know. But I still believe we're gonna line up. We're gonna run that zone run and trying to wear them down the field, and then maybe hit something deep or try to play action here or there. We're gonna run those two tight ends at jumbo set and just try to force it down the field.
And there is another wrinkle to the run game that we're not talking about, and that's Trey Wilson. you're going to get Trey in those jet sweeps and things like that, where he gets the chance to make move, run in space around the ends and things like that. So maybe you see an extra one, one or two extra of those a game where you get the ball in Trey's hands on a run play to kind of supplement it. But
those RPO bubble screens. I mean,
yeah. Oh
an
my
RPO
Lord.
bubble screen is more like
The
a
good
run
thing
at
for
this
them
point.
is
So,
they don't have to worry about seeing the blitz. Mertz being a veteran quarterback, he'll know who the free guy is. Can you pick
right.
that guy up?
Yeah, and in his second year in the system, I think this is where Graham is really going to grow, is knowing things like that. All right, next question. Justin Cordero sends us a question. Thoughts on AR-15's interview, and that's Anthony Richardson interview this week. If none of y'all saw it, he had some rather negative things to say. I think most of that stemmed from the Dan Mullen era and the strength and conditioning program that Dan had in place. And then he made a comment that he knew that one way or another that his last season was going to be his last year at Florida, regardless if he went pro or he came back. Something I'll say to that, and I tweeted this out when it happened the other day. AR had a lot of things happening in his personal life the last year he was at Florida. Things that had the young man where he just wanted to get out of this state. I don't think it had near as much to do with the University of Florida as people are making it out to be. And it had to do with the thing with Anthony Richardson needed to get out of the state of Florida. He needed a change of scenery where people weren't, where he was out of the group and the circle that he was kind of in, where he needed to get away from all of that and have a fresh start. Obviously, you've seen AR come back to UF many, many times since he's left. So he doesn't dislike the University of Florida by any stretch of the imagination. And he's on the advisory board for Florida Victorious. So he doesn't think too, negatively about the University of Florida. And that's all we really need to say about that. I think it got very blown out of proportion by people that were just looking to get hurt by anything and everything. All right, Lucas, the Gator Man, sends us a question. As always, Lucas, thank you for your question. If we land Bryce, Nashawn Montgomery, and by Bryce, he means Bryce Fitzgerald, and Ben Hanks Jr., where would that put us? Lucas, if the 247 calculator is up to date and working correctly, which, hey, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. That'll put us right at around 237, which would put us right around 19th in the country, give or take who gets commitments between now and those three. So I think that's kind of, I think I told you a month ago by kickoff, you could be 19th in the country. Given where we were, I think most people would be happy about that. And then it comes down to what we've said since day one: win some football games and try to improve your standing. All right. Justin Wood, as always, has his Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, Justin Cordero had a couple more questions that I missed. I don't want to get out of line here. If Montrell is out for the Miami game, what do you think the running back rotation will look like? CJ, what do you think the rotation will look like?
Trayon Webb is probably going to be the guy. He's going to be the one. I think that Billy's going to do something that he does a lot, which is Trayon Webb will get the first drive, then probably Jackson gets the second drive, maybe Ball, and then Ball get the third drive, or Jackson will get the third drive, depending on what happens. And I think it will rotate that way unless somebody is just balling. But I think I think we're going to rotate three backs. I really think that there was a good chance that we were going to see Montrell Johnson play the first drive and the Webb start the second drive. Maybe Montrell finish it anyway. Just because that's what Billy's always done. He rotates his backs, tries to keep the legs fresh. So I think that's kind of where we're at. I don't think there would be anything else out of the ordinary. I think that the Trayon will probably get the bulk of the work because he is the experienced one in the room. And then I think it's open season for who gets the second at that point. Just whatever they think works. You're also looking at styles make fights. So whose style matches up better against Miami is going to come into play. So it's open season for that. I could see a world where Trayon maybe isn't the guy to start, but I think that's the most likely thing to happen right now. But there's still a couple weeks of camp, so those guys will figure it out. But I don't think we'll see anything too crazy or too out of the ordinary that none of us would see coming.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to get too funky there. I mean, like you said, they're going to go with the guy that knows the playbook, does the small things. We talked about that on the main show. It just is what it is. All right, Ryan Guerin has 2 questions. It's a 2-part thing here. In your opinion, who is the best Gator QB in the post Tim Tebow era?
Whew. I don't think that's no offense, Ryan, but I mean Kyle Trask was almost a Heisman winner, so
yeah, it's Kyle. Kyle probably by a landslide.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean we had some misses there. I think Jeff Driscoll was probably the most talented guy that didn't get used correctly. I think if Dan Mullen would have had Jeff Driscoll, he would have done fantastic work.
I don't know about most. I don't know if is he more talented than AR?
I wasn't even including AR,
Yeah.
but I think
Yeah.
AR is just a whole weird situation because of all the turmoil he went through. Like it's so weird because I think AR will always be a what could have been. But we have a couple of those, I mean, you could do that with Driscoll. You could do that with
Will Greer.
Will Greer. That was the one I was trying to think of, and my brain was shutting down.
Will Greer had the opportunity to be the best, the best over Trask.
And the reason why, because he had the best defense. He had
he
also
defense. Had a hellacious amount of talent. Like he was a great quarterback.
Yeah.
And
DeMarcus
really
Robinson, Antonio Callaway. Wow.
I don't want to say Trask wins it by default because he certainly earned it.
Yeah.
But he also earned it because a lot of guys never got to fulfill their complete potential due to just wild circumstances. Like Jeff Driscoll had Jeff Driscoll's still getting NFL opportunities. Like
he's with my team. He's with Washington.
I know. Let's be honest. I understand he's not some all-world NFL quarterback, but I mean, think about if he was getting tutelage by Dan Mullen for 3 years of college and then going in the NFL. I mean, Dak Prescott has robbed the Cowboys for decades off of that. I mean, it's just wild. It's a very good question, Ryan. And like I said, I don't want to take anything away from Kyle Trask. He certainly earned his place in Gator history. But he also, in this particular question, he doesn't have a lot of competition because of all the different circumstances surrounding the other guys. Okay. Do you think anyone on the current roster could make a run at a Heisman in the next 4 years? This is Ryan's second question. DJ Lagway, I mean, obviously comes right to mind. I think he has absolutely the talent and the skill to do it. I mean, could Trey Wilson?
Yeah, no disagreement here.
Could Trey Wilson? I don't think so because it just doesn't seem like any player outside of a quarterback ever really has a shot anymore.
There's only been 3 wide receivers win the Heisman ever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and most of those other guys, Desmond Howard, he returned kicks on top of what he was doing.
Yeah, and you've got to do that to even get the eye of the voters. Like it's just it's like the NFL MVP. It's a quarterback driven award. Is that fair? No.
And let's just be honest, they gave it to Devontae Smith in 2020 because they knew they didn't want to give it to Mac Jones, especially with the idea that you've got Kyle Trask down there who has obliterated everyone's stats And if you gave it to Mac Jones, it just wouldn't have been right. So I think they gave it to Devontae Smith. Not saying he didn't earn it, but I just think they gave it to him as a cop out, just to make sure that you can't please everybody. So let's just make everybody displeased except for But it's just hard for a wide receiver to win a Heisman. It's hard for anybody that's not a quarterback to win a Heisman.
Guys, we've lost Wes. He's got some bad weather in his area. He's getting weather out of Hurricane Debbie now. So if he can, he'll try to jump back in with us. If not, we love you, Wes. Hope you're okay. All right, moving on from Ryan's questions. Bo Dawes asked, any O-line for 2025 or 2026 we should keep an eye on? Bo, I really don't have a whole lot for you here, buddy. I wish I did. One name I can tell you to keep an eye on for 2025, Tavarius Dice. He's an Auburn commit currently. I know the Gator staff is working him pretty hard. I know they're still working Solomon Thomas, committed to Florida State, really hard. Those two guys are obviously top-notch options that they're after. I think it comes down to you've got to win some damn football games.
Yeah, I mean, and then you could throw Fasusi in there as well. I don't see that happening, but with Joe Hamilton back in the camp,
you're in the ballpark.
It helps. So maybe you can pull something there, but
right now it's Texas, Oklahoma, and everyone else kind of fighting it out there.
Oregon, but other than that,
Oregon's in the running for everyone. I really wish I had better news for you there, Bo, but Bo's not done. He's got one more question about offensive line. Can you run down your opinion on the O-line depth chart from top to bottom at each position? I can't do top to bottom, Bo, because they're really cross-training these guys at different positions right now. I can start and say, obviously, Austin Barber is your starter at left tackle. I kind of forget who they've got backing him up right now on the left side.
Is it Westfall? Is Westfall behind him?
It's probably Westfall on the left side right now. I think there's somebody else too, and I'm not. And it's tripping me up.
Is Devin Manuel?
Yes, thank you. Yes.
God, I didn't know if they had him on the right side behind Crenshaw Dixon.
But no, right now that's Caden Jones, and we're going to talk about that a second ago. Yeah, I forget about Manuel because he's brand new to the program. But yes, Devin Manuel, the transfer from Arkansas, was your backup.
And as far as the second string tackle, that's a very solid second.
That is a great option. That young man graded out very good last year.
Played a lot of snaps at Arkansas, so yeah, that's a good solid option.
Left guard. That's we're thinking that's probably Najee right now, isn't?
Yeah, probably Najee. Najee is probably the guy who's going to get the left guard spot. There's other guys in the room there.
I think you got Bryce Lovett there.
Most of those guys are way too young, though. You're talking to Zandamela. You've got Roger Kearney. I think they like Kearney as the backup center.
Well, they also I heard it this week. They're also giving Zandamela center snaps as well. They're working him there. That's where I was talking about. They're cross training these guys so that you have depth at every position, almost at a 3 deep level. But yeah, it's kind of Najee Harris and then maybe Bryce Lovett backing him up. Center, we know that's Jake Slaughter. We know you have Kearney that can play that. Like I said, they're letting Zandamela learn some there. We know Kearney has Kearney's taken the center snaps. Najee Harris, I was thinking about, has taken center snaps in the past. So, I mean, you've got a really deep room there. Now, right guard, I think, is the one place where you don't have any kind of solid. I know Damian George is your penciled in starter right now, but that's kind of done by default. Like they just kind of slid him over. But Cameron Waits, obviously, they moved him from tackle to guard. So he's taking some snaps right now at right guard. So I think that's going to be one of those battles that goes down to the wire. Like, who can do the job the best?
I haven't heard much about him, but as far as a guy I think that has played some upper level competition, I think Noah Portenhagen maybe could slide in there as a guy that played, professional football in Germany.
He's a wild card. He's a huge wild card because
I mean, as far as his size go, he's got predictable size. He's a big guy. He's kind of wise beyond his years. Like I said, he played in the German football league over there with those guys. So it's not like he was playing against high schoolers. He was playing against, grown men. So I feel like he could be a guy that you look at that could be pretty high up on the depth chart just because he's, stronger at this point in his career than other guys would be.
Yeah, and then right tackle, like we said, that's going to be Crenshaw Dixon. Word is Caden Jones is the backup there, and he's pushing really hard. He's pushing Crenshaw Dixon for every bit of what he's worth. And I mean, you've got some other guys you can mix in there, but I think you have some guys now. You've got an opportunity to actually redshirt some of these offensive linemen that you brought in last year. Some of these guys that we thought were, some might, we said projects, but we said Caden Jones was probably 3-4 years away when he came in. And now in his second year, he's pushing for a guy that's a fourth, fifth year senior for possible starting at right tackle. So I think we're in the best place we've been offensive line wise in a long, long time. So I'm looking forward for that to pay off. All right. Kenny Hawthorne asked, the top 5 football head coaches at Florida all time. What is your ranking for these? CJ, you got a ranking for the top 5?
Top 5 all time. Okay.
And he said Charlie included if you think he was. Charlie Pell.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, Spurrier's one.
Not an argument.
I'm sorry.
Spurrier, Urban.
If Urban had the longevity, it'd be Urban, but Spurrier, Urban 1 and 2. I would probably put Ray Graves at 3.
I don't disagree.
Now then it starts to get kind of muddy. I feel like you got to put Pell at 4. I think Charlie Pell, as far as without all the scandal, without all the BS, you put him there, and then Coach after Gale.
Yeah, my mind's tripping.
My mind
Dude, that's hard for me.
Because that's before my time. So I'm trying to think of his name. It's Gale something, and I'm losing it. He was the guy right after Pell, but that's gonna bother me. I'm gonna have to, because I could see him in my mind. I could see him standing there with his orange Gators hat on.
It's killing me that I'm missing it too, because I know this.
Galen Hall.
Yep. Good God Almighty, man.
I mean, you can put him there. I mean, honestly, again, when you're talking about Florida Gators head coaches, you are really kind of, after Spurrier, after Urban, you're kind of treading water because it's just, and then too, you could maybe say Doug Dickey if you want to go with him.
I kind of thought Dickey probably
put Dickey. I would put Dickey at 5. But other than that, like you said, you talk about a drop off significantly because until God, the University of Florida hadn't the University of Florida didn't win a conference title till what, 84?
Yeah.
So I mean, you're really it's tough because of that. Because what we were prior to Steve Spurrier getting here was a team that we hoped to make a decent bowl at the end of the year. So,
yeah, I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. Spurrier, Urban, Ray Graves has a special place in my heart because he hired my grandfather. Charlie, though, yeah. I mean, look, everybody cheated. Let's be real.
Yeah, Pell just unfortunately got caught, but Pell got Florida on the track that Steve would take advantage of when he got there. He had basically laid the groundwork to becoming a respectable program. It showed this is what we need to do to compete. So I think that you take a guy who was a Bear Bryant disciple that knew what to do. It sucks he got caught, but he was definitely on the path. I think everybody really liked Coach Pell. And we got the sweet ass logo because of him.
Absolutely, baby. All right. Now that we've got those questions out of the way, it's time for the Justin Woods section of the program. Justin, as always, thank you so much for all your questions. I don't know how your brain works the way it does that you can come up with all these questions every time we have a pot of the people, but we thank you because you are a content creator for us.
Right. It helps out.
All right. First question from Justin. Do you think Andy Jean takes another step this year? If Andy Jean is healthy and he's got his playbook down, I absolutely do. The only problem is that is a stacked room now. I think he had a better opportunity last year if he could have been healthy than he does this year, because now you have Badger, you have DK, you have, you have Jackson, who's really seemed to step up. I mean, there's going to be some odd men out. I really like what I've seen out of Aiden Mizell in camp so far. Like, you're going to have to work to get on that field. But the good news is it always looks like they like to rotate these guys in and out. So, next Justin Wood question. Some targets you think we flip if we have a big season on the field. The two that come to mind immediately for me, and then I'll let CJ chime in on that, is Tramel Jones and Solomon Thomas. I think those are two guys you have a realistic shot of flipping from FSU if you get it done on the field. CJ, is there anyone else that comes to mind for you?
No, I agree with you there. I think those are the two guys that come to my mind. I think just because we were already close to flipping them at one point, and I think that just the uncertainty, because if you flip to Florida, then the staff isn't there. Then by the time they get gone, now you've got to figure out where you're going to go. If it and everybody's not going to have a spot anymore. So I think that they're kind of sticking with their original pick just to
it's kind of like stick with the devil,
Right. So I mean, it's just and I get that. You want to at least Mike Norvell will be there in a year, no matter what happens between now and then. Florida State could go 0-12 and he would still be the coach next year. So I think that's kind of where they're at, but I think they really do like Florida.
I agree. Do you think the Jackson hype at running back is real? Well, Justin, I don't know if there is a whole lot of Jacoby Jackson hype, but I do think the young man, we've done it on this show several times, is a forgotten. I think he's better than he's getting noticed for, if that makes sense. CJ, what do you think?
I'm in the same, but I haven't seen too much hype about him. I think I've seen him mentioned. I think the most of the hype he's gotten maybe from us. I think we all just kind of really like the kid. So yeah, I think it's warranted. I think the kid showed a lot of flash. So let's see what he can do. Let's give him a chance. I mean, you're never going to know unless he gets a chance to touch the football. Now he's got an opportunity. Let's see what he can do with it.
Some of the greatest stories of all time have been made through opportunity.
Yeah, I don't want Montreal Johnson to get Wally pipped or anything, but like,
well, we know one thing: Montreal's job is safe when he comes back. But I mean, this is a young man that you show a couple of big games, and then all of a sudden, next year that running back position is up for grabs, regardless.
Absolutely.
I mean, you got Webb, you got Baugh, and I mean, we may think Baugh is the next coming of Fred Taylor and Emmett and all that, but right now it's you got to show us what you can do now before you get that opportunity later.
Absolutely.
Justin's next question: your favorite sports bar to watch a Gators game at? Justin, that would be my outdoor kitchen right off the corner of my house out here. I don't have a sports bar within. If I go to a sports bar nearest me, that's Statesboro, Georgia, and every TV's turned to Georgia Southern. So I don't have a sports bar. I go to right out here. I got a TV in my outdoor kitchen right next to my grill, and that's where I sit and I watch my games at.
No, I'm in the same boat. I don't go to any. There's no. Maybe if I lived, a little closer. Maybe if there were other like-minded individuals like me, and I had some, if I wasn't stuck watching Florida State play or Georgia play, maybe I would. But other than that, man, I've got a Traeger out there. I can cook whatever I want. I know my bathrooms are cleaner. The drinks don't cost near as much. You know,
It's a
so
new age,
that's kind of where
and
I'm at.
CJ's got a new baby and a new house. So these
Yeah,
decisions matter.
I'm enjoying the spoils of my indebtedness.
This will be your first season watching the games in
That's
the new
right.
house.
We are
So
excited.
you got to break it in.
I mean, I spent a lot of money on having a nice sound system and TV.
Not gonna go sit somewhere else and watch the
Right.
game.
I'm gonna my 75-inch TV to myself. Thank
I'm
you.
too introverted to sit in a sports bar anyway at this point in my life. All right. Last question for Justin. CJ, this is strictly for you. CJ's grade on our transfer portal baseball class so far.
I'll give it a B plus. I think there's still the question of pitching, which is out of our control. I mean, you look at Michael Ross. I think that puts it at an A minus if you were able to keep him. But unfortunately, it's his last year of leverage. I get it. Take the money if you think you're going to get it, and go play. I believe he went to the Twins. So good luck to him. Would really like to have him in the transfer class, but Florida has added some really good pieces. Of course, namely Sear from Miami is the big guy. You've added some different bats, a lot of infielders because you're losing so many. I'm curious to see what Florida does, but we've kept a lot of the pieces together too. So that helps out a ton. When you hear that Colby Shelton's coming back, you still got Cade Curlin, you still got Luke Heyman. I think Brody Donay is going to have a massive breakout year next year. I'm on record with that one. Just how hard he hits the baseball. His velocity is comparable to all the top guys that were playing in the World Series last year. So I think he's a guy that you could look out for. But I think a B plus is where I'm at with the transfer portal class. I would have, like I said, a top arm puts it at an A minus. Without Michael Ross now, that kind of takes a hit. But as far as rebuilding where we were with the infielders and the bats reloading, I think that Sully's done a pretty good job at that.
I'm glad you knew all that because I just wait until they step on the field. No, I did follow a lot of them, and that's because of CJ. CJ's up to my game on following baseball transfer portal. I don't follow the recruits because I don't ever think probably half of them will ever reach campus the way that we recruit on the baseball diamond. These kids are uber talented. So I know it's a hit and miss if they'll ever take a pitch or throw a pitch at the University of Florida, but the transfer portal is the way to go now. I think Sear is going to have a big season for us for sure. All right, guys, thank you as always for sending in your questions, man, and making this show easy and fun for us and just sharing our opinions. And thank you for valuing our opinions. That means the world to us. Hopefully Wes is okay. I know the storm's hitting him pretty hard this evening, and prayers to all of y'all out there that have been affected by Hurricane Debbie, and hopefully you're all okay. And we're going to do it again next week, man. So make sure you think about some questions you have. If you want to drop them in the comments now, go right ahead. We'll read them off just the same. If not, make sure you're following our Facebook group. We'll post that questionnaire on Monday or early Tuesday, and we'll do it all again next week. But until then, guys, stay safe and go Gators.
Go Gators.